your host, Silly Kelly. Yeah, and tonight, this is the Cal Cat Show Season 8 finale. The New Year's special. Didn't think we were going to do it, but it's not going to be many jokes or anything. We're just going to do, just a recap, I guess. Because, like 2009 and some of the other ones, it's just 2016. Here we have, we're going to start off, just to be morbid, the celebrity deaths of 2016. So the ones that impacted us more or less in some way. Okay, we got a guy named Pat Harrington Jr., who was on One Day at a Time. He was Schneider. He was very old, though. This website that I'm looking at is NBC News. I'm just going to click through this. Okay. Okay. Pat Harrington from One Day at a Time. The TV show that was one of the shows we watched when I was a kid. It was, he not much of an impact, except that sort of Schneider voice has been used many times on the Cal Cat Show. And that's where it comes from. That guy, Pat Harrington. Here we have, the next one is David Bowie, who was 69. David Bowie was one of the creators of glam rock and the sort of punk glam rock era in the 80s. That spiky hair going everywhere, the blonde look, the sort of effeminate drag queen look. Yeah, so that's what he did, because it was the 80s. David Bowie is a popular glam rocker who did the spiky hair, the androgynous look before that was popular, made it popular. He was more popular with my older sisters and not with this. I mean, he was okay, yeah. Ziggy Stardust, that kind of thing. The movie Labyrinth with him in it was an inspiration for some of the names of one name of one of the SAP people. Yes, Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman, who most famously did the character of Snape, Professor Snape, the sort of evil wizard teacher guy in Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series, and a number of other things too. He was in a Kevin Smith movie as an evil angel. Yeah, so this is similar to what's on my blog, but I'm just kind of going through it. Dan Haggerty, who played Grizzly Adams. That was a guy in the day. Glenn Frey of the Eagles. Glenn Frey from the Eagles. It was a 70s band. Hotel California. Yeah, that was on location. One of their songs. Yes. Where was the Eagles? Let's see. There's a bunch of guys. Joe Escalade. He was one of the voices of Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. There's an astronaut, Edgar Mitchell, and John Glenn, two astronauts from the moon missions. Vanity died. Who that is? It's funny. Vanity died. No. Oh, no. That was her name. No, that's not funny. Antonin Scalia, the judge, Supreme Court Justice. Let's see. The old guy from Punky Brewster, George Gaynims, who was that was a popular show I used to watch as a kid, Punky Brewster. Let's see. That show was funny because like Punky was clearly not pubescent anymore, and she was growing enormous boobs, and they had to like tie him up or reduce him or something. They should have just said she was older. And then there's Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan died. So her husband Ronald Reagan had died a couple of years ago of Alzheimer's related causes. She was arguably the first female president, because in the last 2 years of his term, Ronald Reagan wasn't running the country. Somebody else was. It was probably Nancy and George Bush the elder. She did the Just Say No campaign, which didn't work, and among other things. She was far more conservative and also progressive than they will admit on some of the Fox channels and stuff. And also, Yeah, neither of them were saints, but they treat them that way years later. Let's see, George Martin. Yes. The other Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, also a 60s and 70s band. And Frank Sinatra Jr., Frank Sinatra's son, died. Gary Marshall died. It's not on. This is on there later, but Gary Marshall was one of the guys who did Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days and all that. Big TV producer guy. Gary Shandling died. He wasn't that old, was he? Huh. He was a comedian. Yeah. Gary Shandling. Florence Henderson, who was the mother on the pivotal TV show The Brady Bunch, which when it aired wasn't popular and it got canceled, but it went into syndication and it played all the time. So by the time I was a little kid, I grew up on The Brady Bunch, and it was on all the time. So it sparked some TV movies and a spin-off, and then eventually theatrical films in the 90s. So this, and a cartoon in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, so that was China, the wrestler, died. China, the wrestler, yeah. She was a popular WWE character for being a female wrestler as well. Let's see. I've already gone over this guy quite a bit, but I'm going to go over it again just a little bit here. Prince, and the artist formerly known as Prince, and the symbol that was Prince. Prince, the Purple Rain guy. As it says on my blog as well, Prince was actually one of the characters that I actually encountered. There was a concert in the 1990s in which Mark's Cards and I went to that concert, and when we kind of got in the back, well, we did pay for it, but we pretended we got in the back. And we went in and we saw the Prince people and afterward. But here is Prince. Yes, he was the artist formerly known as Prince in the 1990s. So it had this symbol. It was at San Jose State, and it was a big symbol. It's a big deal. And it was cool. So yeah, Purple Rain guy. Purple Rain is one. The plot of Purple Rain has been copied many, many times up to the present in other movies. Muhammad Ali died. He was a boxer, famous boxer, the greatest. Who's that guy? And then we come to Anton Yelchin, who was 27 when he died. He was the character Chekhov in the new reboot of Star Trek. He died in a freak automobile accident. Actually, he wasn't actually in the car. He was apparently pinned behind it when the car backed up in his driveway and smashed him in the gate. It's too bad there weren't any people around in his posh estate when that happened. Could have rescued him, or at least done something. Maybe. But yeah, hindsight is 20/20. But that sucks. And so they had to give his character in Beyond dedication and all that. Yeah. Leonard Nimoy was last year, and so was Robin Williams. Let's see. And toward the end of the year, we come to Scotty Moore, Pat Summers. There's a lot of people in this here list. There's a lot of people. They going through the list. There's Gary Marshall, who I mentioned, TV personality. Oh, Miss Chloe died. Miss Chloe was this infamous televangelist lady that would come on, and she had like this tanned skin, and she would do this weird like Swami thing that was like something out of like a sketch or something. But no, she was trying to make money for her. She was sort of like Sylvia Browne. You'd dial her number, and she would give you like the future. I wonder, Miss Chloe died. I wonder if she saw it coming. She was old though. That was in the 80s. The guy that played Admiral Ross on Star Trek was Barry Jenner. He died. He was the guy from Deep Space Nine. Kenny Baker from Star Wars. He was a little guy inside R2-D2. He was in his 80s. 81. Yeah. And I met him one time at a convention where it was bizarre because we were going into the bathrooms. Coming out, not bathrooms. The guy, Arnold Palmer. Zaza Gabor died. Zaza Gabor was 99. Same age as that my grandmother was when she died. She was 99, and she was a really bizarre lady. Yeah, really famous for a lot of things. Moulin Rouge and stuff. Moulin Rouge, that was it. Yes, old stuff like 70 years ago. And Gene Wilder died. He was the guy from many, many comedies in the 70s and 80s, including in movies, including Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that version. Blazing Saddles, Silver Streak, often alongside Richard Pryor, sometimes not. Yeah, so Gene Wilder. He was actually pretty old. Yeah, 80. What was it, 83? Yeah, 83. So, yeah, he was getting up there. Alan Thicke died. He was the father of Robin Thicke, but Alan Thicke was the playboy, and his son is not so much. But yeah, Robin Thicke was the original playboy. Well, he was pretty long in the tooth too. Yeah, 69. Let's seen China twice. There's Zaza again. George Michael died. Another musical icon, George Michael, who in the 80s did the effeminate spiky hair rock thing too, in being both homophobic and having the gaydar ability to detect also the thing. All the girls at school would go like, "Oh, George Michael's the straightest, awesome man ever. Has such feeling and emotion." And we're all, no, he's gay. No, he's gay. It turns out he's bi, but yeah, it turned out he doesn't like girls. But he was doing a very good job trying to convince people that he liked for a while in the videos, at least. But there's nothing wrong with that in 2016. Anyway, he was 53. Yeah, he was even younger than Michael Jackson. So yeah, Boy George Michael Jackson together makes really. Yeah, Boy George, I think, is still alive. I'm not sure. Rich Adams. Barbara Turbach also was in Star Trek. And then we come to Carrie Fisher, who was, of course, Princess Leia from Star Wars in episodes 4, 5, and 6, and also in Rogue One in a cameo, and she is going to be in Episode 8 posthumously because they finished filming her scenes. I know that for sure. Finished filming her scenes, and they're apparently going to flash back to Han Solo's funeral, but other than that, can't say. But from what I've read, that's what the rumor is. And she died. I'm not being chuckly. I'm just saying she died at 60 of a massive heart attack on a plane from a plane to London to L.A. Somebody dies of a heart attack on a plane. You kind of can't do anything about it. Originally, they said, "Oh, it was a bad condition, stable condition, whatever." But what they meant was they stabilized the bad condition, but she was already gone. They got her to the medical center. She was dead. But yeah, so even Kevin Smith made a touching elegy thing. He hasn't discussed it on his life blog yet, but just on the collection, the little movie vignette thing. 2 days later, Debbie Reynolds died, and she is actually the 80-something mother of Carrie Fisher. She died too, apparently. Yeah, these people were not that old. It's weird. Anyway, so that's kind of the end of the list of people that have died. What a morbid little video I made. But that's the people that have died. I guess I'll put that up separately. But yeah, yeah, I'll do an update. It's the 31st of December. It's New Year's Eve. There technically wasn't a season 8 of the Calicat Show. It was just update blogs because the show was officially ended, not really canceled, ended last November, technically. Not this November, but 2015, the Disney trip. But because the Disney trip was flagged off of one channel and put back on the other one with the music change, don't get the full effect. But it is there, and we do talk about it. That was November of 2015. It went on for a few more episodes until the New Year's, and then we had Mark's Cards here in the studio because it happened to land on a Thursday night. It won't land on a Thursday night for another 7 years, so 6 years now. But yeah, so yeah, there was a lot of other. I looked through a lot of the story things with the. Well, we looked at updates before, saying all through the year, we're going to bring out Chimera this year. We're going to do that because it's 50th anniversary. That didn't happen. It wasn't for our lack of trying. We actually did complete 15 minutes more footage and put it in the can, which means that we have 20 to go. 20, that's it. 20 pages, that's it. It'll be done. And we keep going into hiatus whenever something comes up that happens. Lately, it isn't something Calcata's doing. It's something Mars Cart's doing at work. And lately, Calcat has been doing other things, but he could totally stop and do Chimera at any point. Well, almost any point. So, but yeah, it wasn't ready yet. So, we wanted to make it the best possible ever thingy. And it's going to be out in not February. That's too soon. We were held back yet another month, so it's probably March at the earliest. At the latest, it'll be out when Discovery comes out in May of 2017. That may be on purpose. Who knows? Maybe mysteriously on purpose. Chimera A2405 on the blog site was discussing the Okudograms and things with some of the other blog site people, and revealed some of the names of, or at least some of the ideas of some of the cast members from the Chimera game from back in the day, who had been in Star Trek or associated with it. Set the record straight. I never worked on Star Trek. Mark's Cards never worked on Star Trek, but we did submit stories to Star Trek and to Paramount back in the day. Not Paramount, to Pocket Books back in the day, and Star Trek on their contests when they had writing contests, and they liked them. We didn't have agents, and they didn't feel that what we were doing with the characters was not quite what they wanted to do with the characters. We had a good grasp of it, but yeah, so we were not picked. However, we were looked at twice for Voyager. They picked the script and stamped it twice. It turns out that some of the people from the church, this church as well, it must be famous or something, did work on Star Trek. There was one in the choir that worked on Voyager and was one of the runners-up to play Harry Kim. And there was another one, Brian Story, who did a voice 10 years ago on the Chimera script, long before the story was even really done. And he did his lines about the Chimera script, and he got to do, yeah, he got to play the Kirk God. So his scene is still ready to go, but we're not there yet. It'll be the last 5 minutes of the movie. But yes, and then he still approves, and he's still part of the game and the behind-the-scenes team designing starship locations. So, we'll see how that works out. That's a new game. There is a role-playing game. Don't get confused. There's a Star Trek role-playing game that just started. We might actually use some of that platform as a jumping point, just because it's already done. Somebody else did it. Like the game board or something they're using. Yeah, just to start off, we're going to play Star Trek, but we're going to play our own version. It's like back in the day with Silly Trek and Champions and stuff. But anyway, that's all we got so far on that. Well, that's going to be later, probably in May. Nothing else going on, but yes. I'm going to do the New Year's wall drop at 9, about 9 here. Because in New York it'll be midnight. So that's what I'll do. That's what I usually do. So there's nothing really else that I can report from the SAP people. Also, there was some confusion as to... I was just going on about Teddy Ruxpin thing. I don't know. Maybe he'll be by later.